Coming up next, mandatory mask up. See how State College's mask mandate is going and how people are reacting.
Plus, a liquor shortage on some items means a new limit on purchases for consumers. Find out what's on the list.
And launching a career in a pandemic. As Penn State holds its annual career fair, we take a closer look at how soon-to-be grads are feeling about the post-pandemic job market and what jobs are hot and what's not. The Center County Report starts now. Good afternoon. I'm Austin Bowley.
And I'm Grace McCarthy. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. Our top story, the latest numbers show more than 30 people hospitalized with COVID in Center County. Cases have been rising locally, and to help fight that, State College Borough's indoor mask mandate is in effect until at least November. But the rule is causing some confusion. Reporter Andrew Destin explains.
Mask mandates have varied across the country since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, and now there are different rules for different places right here in Center County. Starting last week, an indoor mask requirement began in the borough of State College. It does not apply to the outdoors, including the 100,000 fans at Beaver Stadium for football games. And not everyone is following the indoor rules.
On the football weekends, it gets a little more difficult because we just have people that are coming from out of town that aren't aware that there actually is a mask mandate.
It also depends which part of town you're in. College, Ferguson, Harris, and Patton townships don't have any mask mandate.
That means you'll have to wear a mask at Line and Cub downtown, but not at places like Wegmans on North Atherton.
The inconsistency between the borough and neighboring areas has made it tough for some customers to keep up with the COVID guidelines.
Yeah, and you never know these rules until you go and experience them for yourself. So I always usually keep a mask with me, just in case.
Violators of the borough's mask mandate could be fined up to $300. Based on the recommendations from the Board of Health, masks are required for everyone 2 years and older, regardless of their vaccination status. The State College mandate is also in line with Penn State's current rules, which require masks be worn inside all campus buildings. In State College, I'm Andrew Destin for the Center County Report.
So far, more than 82,000 people in Center County are fully vaccinated against COVID.
Pennsylvania vaccine providers say they're prepared to give booster shots to those eligible as soon as the CDC gives final approval. The State Health Department says more than 2,000 vaccine providers will offer extra doses of the shot while also giving out first and second doses. According to the CDC, almost 66% of PA's population aged 12 and up is fully vaccinated. As the pandemic continues to impact everyday life, one of the newest dilemmas is whether entertainment venues will require vaccines. Chris Lemo has more.
While Pennsylvania has no statewide vaccine or mask mandates, some entertainment venues across the state are requiring vaccine proof to get into concerts or sports events. At movie theaters, proof of vaccine is not in effect here in the Center County region.
We're now back at full capacity. We try to clean as much as we can. Masks are only mandatory if you're unvaccinated.
As vaccination rates rise, more artists and shows are hitting the road again. The constant travel of touring crews and fans creates a new challenge for venues to balance the risk of COVID with the increasing demand for entertainment. Here at the Bryce Jordan Center on Penn State's campus, shows and performances are back. Officials are saying that it will be up to the discretion of each individual artist as to whether they would like to require guests to have vaccines or not upon entry. The BJC's general manager says because there is no vaccine mandate in place here, the venue works closely with artists to tailor safety protocols for each tour.
They'll ultimately make the decision on what they want above and beyond what we already are instituting here. So if someone came in and said, well, we don't want a mask mandate, then we're not going to be able to do the show.
The Bryce Jordan Center has a number of events booked in the coming months, including country star Kane Brown and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. In State College, I'm Chris Lemo for the Center County Report.
The area's biggest venue, Beaver Stadium, is requiring masks at indoor areas of the stadium, like suites and the press box, but not in the stands.
Pennsylvania's unemployment rate is slowly dropping, but it's not all good news. The state says the jobless rate dropped to 6.4% in August, but the labor force actually shrank and payrolls remained flat as employers like restaurants struggle to find enough workers. Pennsylvania has now regained about 65% of the 1.1 million jobs lost during the pandemic. But as the economy recovers from pandemic losses, the job market is still volatile, and graduating college students starting their job searches are unsure about what's ahead. Over 400 employers and hundreds of Penn State students gathered on Tuesday for an in-person, full-time recruitment day for all majors. The Associated Press stated that hiring in August fell in industries that require face-to-face contact with the public due to the Delta variant. However, companies such as Walmart and Amazon are hiring between 20 and 40,000 employees. Senior Phil D'Angelo talked about his thoughts on graduating in this up-and-down job market.
I'm pretty confident. I think coming on the tail end of COVID, there's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of new hiring. I really like that the job market has some remote options as well as in-person options.
According to the Associated Press, the number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits moved up this past week to 332,000 from a previous pandemic low. However, career fair coordinator Bhavna Mehta says that there are still plenty of hot jobs on the market.
The jobs are open in a variety of sectors. If you have to ask me, I would say hot jobs would be in the IT sector, business, supply chain management, landscaping, construction. They are all here looking for potential employees.
Mehta added that although they had to follow certain protocol with COVID, she was pleased with the overall turnout of the event. Students continued to funnel in and out of the BJC until 4 p.m. to meet with future employers. The economy has recovered about 17 million jobs that were lost at the start of the pandemic as vaccines encouraged businesses to reopen.
Center County is putting together an initiative to bring an economic boost to the area, adding 12 flights a week out of State College to Charlotte, North Carolina. County commissioners are trying to incentivize American Airlines to provide the new daily direct flights from University Park Airport to Charlotte, and they've already set aside $250,000 to do so. This money comes from American Rescue Funds, but the commissioners are also hoping local municipalities will contribute. Customers at Pennsylvania's liquor stores are now facing limits on certain kinds of alcohol. The state's 2-bottle per day limit on certain products went into effect last week. Officials say supply chain issues are the reason the limit applies to customers, bars, restaurants, and all other liquor license holders. The list of restricted alcohol includes certain types of champagne, bourbon, tequila, whiskey, and cognac. It's unclear how long the rationing will be in place.
After almost 3 inches of rain yesterday, what's the weekend weather looking like? The 7-day forecast is coming up.
Plus, bringing the fight against racism to the classroom. Also coming up, how the Gabby Petito case is focusing more attention on domestic violence and abuse, and the lessons experts say it can teach to other couples.
A federal arrest warrant has been issued for the person of interest in the killing of Gabby Petito, the young woman who disappeared on a cross-country trip. The story has made national headlines and focused attention on domestic abuse and violence. Isabel Hayes has the latest.
Search teams have spent days looking through a Florida swamp for the missing boyfriend of Gabby Petito. He's now an official suspect in her death, which investigators have ruled a homicide. A federal court issued an arrest warrant last night. The 22-year-old woman and Brian Laundrie were on a road trip when they got into a physical altercation in Utah that led to a police stop for a possible domestic violence case. Police separated the couple, but no charges were filed. Petito then went missing, and police found her dead last weekend in Wyoming. Experts say domestic violence cases are difficult and happen more than people realize.
We see a lot of those red flags and signs include being overly jealous, right? Accusing you of cheating or wanting to check your phone, see who you've been texting, have the login or password to your phone, your various social media accounts.
Here in our area, Penn State's Gender Equity Center is open to anyone who needs help.
We provide direct services, confidential free advocacy, crisis intervention, and support to students impacted by violence. We can work with them one-on-one, and then we do prevention education out in the classroom and with various organizations on these topics to raise awareness and provide students with skills to help out their fellow classmates.
Experts say sometimes warning signs are obvious to victims, families, and friends. However, sometimes they're not. But they encourage anyone who may need help to reach out. For immediate help, Center Safe is our area's 24-hour hotline, or you can dial 911. In State College, I'm Isabel Hayes for Center County Report.
The FBI put out a nationwide alert on Laundrie and is asking anyone with any information on where he might be to contact the Bureau.
Racism is another important topic around the nation right now, and two scholars in Penn State's Schreier Honors College are bringing the fight against racism to the classroom. Violent protests last year over social justice focused attention on racism across the nation. Now discussions about that topic have led to a local focus on the issue in a college classroom. Mariah Burney and Janiah Davis are Penn State students teaching a course on anti-black racism in America. It launched this fall after talks about racial injustice between Burney, Davis, and others.
We chose anti-blackness specifically because that's like an area of focus that we understand and know about and we can teach and go from our experiences with.
I realized that the best way to do something was to teach people and to try and incentivize that in a way that encourages people to actually participate and actually want to engage in conversation and dialogue. And
one of the primary goals for the class Anti-Black Racism in America is to create an environment where students and professors can have honest and raw discussions about racism and learn about different perspectives. The 3-credit course, which is filled this fall, is open to all University Park students. Dr. Lynette Yarger, Associate Dean for Equity and Inclusion, says it's not just centered around group discussions.
Exploring literature, art, we have guest speakers, and the activities that are designed are highly interactive and engaging. And students are able to be their full, authentic selves.
Burney and Davis plan to teach the course again in the spring. The course is part of the Students Teaching Students program, which enables undergrads to teach official courses under the guidance of a faculty member.
Well, we had a beautiful start to the day as we look out on our Beaver Stadium camera. A very picturesque sunrise unfolding just before 7 a.m. this morning as we look over towards Mount Nittany. And through the rest of the morning, lots of blue sky, a few clouds passing through the area, especially in the middle of the morning. But it's turned into a very beautiful day here across Center County. Temperatures right now as of the noon hour, 63 degrees here in State College. A little bit warmer as you head off to the east down into the capital region, where temperatures in the southeast have warmed all the way up to 70 degrees right now in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, in the Pittsburgh metro, hanging in there at 65. It's also a whole lot drier than we saw this time yesterday, because that cold front that swept across the area has now exited the region. So dew points now back into the 40s and 50s, and I'm officially issuing a chapstick watch for the next 36 hours because it is so dry here in central Pennsylvania. Radar and satellite shows a very quiet picture not only here in Pennsylvania, but across much of the mid-Atlantic as well, as that low pressure system working its way off into the northeast, into Canada, and it'll be out of our hair over the next several days. I do want to give a brief mention to Hurricane Sam, the latest storm system to brew in the Atlantic, currently over the central Atlantic, not impacting any land right now, but it is a hurricane and forecast to become a major hurricane over the next couple of days, potentially even reaching Category 4 strength with winds of 135 miles per hour. It is going to be a pretty powerful system, but it won't be impacting any land anytime soon, and if early computer projections are correct, it should arc off to sea and not impact any of us here on the East Coast. Back here at home through the rest of the day, we stay mainly cloud-free for the rest of the day. Temperatures falling back into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight hours. Then for your Saturday, some clouds in the area as Penn State takes on Villanova tomorrow. Temperatures warming quite nicely into the 60s, and we'll keep partly cloudy skies in through most of the rest of the day. Then through the rest of the Weekend, mostly sunny skies for much of the region. Then as we head into Monday, should be a very pleasant start to next week. So your forecast for today, warming up right to around 65 degrees with abundant sunshine, winds out of the west at 5 to 15 miles an hour. Then during the overnight hours tonight, 47, a little bit on the cool side, so make sure you have a jacket if you're going to be heading out during the night tonight. Then the rest of your 7-day forecast looks like this. Penn State takes on Villanova, should be great weather through the rest of the week, warming up into the 70s. We'll send it back over to you at the desk.
Thank you, Christopher. It sounds like it's going to be a great weekend for some Penn State football.
Now over to Kelly for sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up next in sports, high school football kicks off week 5 tonight. We'll look at games in the area along with some can't-miss matchups.
Also ahead, we'll go inside Penn State football.
Preparations for tomorrow's game against Villanova. I'm Kelly Warner with sports. The Nittany Lions will try to improve to 4-0 tomorrow as they play Villanova at Beaver Stadium. It's the final non-conference game, and Penn State is on a roll. 3-0 Penn State has been back on the practice field this week, preparing to take on its in-state neighbor from Philly, Villanova, for tomorrow for the first time since 1951. The Nittany Lions opened as a 29-point favorite, still unbeaten coming off a statement whiteout win over Auburn. The Wildcats are also unbeaten, scoring 136 combined points in their past 3 games. Nova QB Daniel Smith will be a player to watch, but Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford should be ready to go after having one of the best games of his career last week, completing 28 of 32 passes for 280 yards and a touchdown in the victory. The crowning glory of this Lions team, though, has been the bend but don't break defense, not allowing a passing touchdown all season and dominating in the red zone.
We're pretty good against the run, especially in obvious running situations. And then I think our guys are doing a really good job of playing the ball in the air. I think we got more guys making plays on the ball in the air right now on the defensive side of the ball.
Linebacker Brandon Smith was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week last week after he recorded a career 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pass breakup over Auburn.
He's as impressive of a young man on the field and off. He's killing it academically. He's doing a really good job. I'm really proud of him. I think you'll continue to see him, have success this season and moving forward.
Kickoff is set for noon tomorrow, and you can listen to the game live on Penn State Com Radio. Before you get to Beaver Stadium tomorrow, there are some exciting high school football matchups tonight. The State High Little Lions will travel to Central Dauphin East, Bald Eagle will host Penns Valley, and the undefeated Pan-Cambria Panthers will try to slay the undefeated Central Dragons. Kickoff for all 3 games is set for 7 p.m., and you can watch highlights of this week's games and more on our football show after the whistle. The number 10 Penn State women's hockey team began its most anticipated season in program history against St. Lawrence last night. The Nittany Lions recognized their CHA regular season title before puck drop, but it was the visiting Saints who struck first as Hillary Sterling deflected the puck past Penn State goaltender Josie Bothan. The Lions continued to create chances, but ultimately couldn't find a way past backstop Lucy Morgan, who stopped all 21 shots as Penn State fell 1-0 on opening night. Game 2 is tonight. The Penn State men's soccer is back on the field tomorrow to take on Princeton in New Jersey. The Lions are coming off a big win this week against Villanova. At a rainy Jeffrey Field, Nittany Lions sophomore Peter Mangione opened the scoring in the 27th minute with his 3rd goal of the season. He found the back of the net again 8 minutes later to give Penn State a 2-0 lead at halftime. In the 17th minute, Reedy showed off his dribbling skills before letting Andrew Privet do the rest to put the home squad up by 3. After Wildcats goalkeeper Carson Williams drew a red card, Mangione welcomed new goalkeeper Kent Dickey with a successful penalty kick for the first career hat trick. The 4-0 win moved Penn State's record to 5-1. The women's soccer team continued the action at Jeffrey Field last night against Northwestern. The Wildcats' Kaylee Titus scored in the 11th minute to put a goal up on the board. Northwestern struck again in the 37th minute with a goal by Josie Alcelino. The Nittany Lions were topped by a defense that allowed only 1 goal. Penn State lost 2-1. And Bo Nickel, the 3-time Penn State NCAA wrestling champion, is making his MMA debut tonight. The 25-year-old middleweight division wrestler will fight David Conley in the Pensacola, Florida. Nigel ended with a record of 135-5 at Penn State. That's all for sports. Now back to you at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Kelly. Coming up next, 2 young entrepreneurs open a business in the middle of a global pandemic. We'll take a look at the downtown State College business after the break.
Opening a business can be a challenge anytime. Opening one in a pandemic is especially tough, but 2 young entrepreneurs found a way to do it in State College this year. Reporter Kyle Canillo has their story.
Once a vision, now a reality. Since early on in high school, 2 best friends, Ethan Steiger and Tobiel Noel, wanted to be entrepreneurs. They sat in a coffee shop brainstorming how they can launch a new business. It turned out their inspiration was right in front of them.
Back in high school, we didn't necessarily have the means to do something like this, but after a few years of schooling under our belt, we just got together and decided to make something happen.
The pair just held their grand opening at State College's newest business, Vibe Coffee Company. The shop has been a big hit since its opening last week. They sell mainly drinks and muffins, but Steiger believes that the customer experience should go well beyond a cup of coffee.
Like the name suggests, the goal of the new business is to make an impression on all that stop by.
Tobiel and I just want to make sure we are having a positive impact on someone's day. So whether that just be taking a minute to walk around and just see how people are doing, or while we're checking them out, just ask them a question.
Starting any business isn't easy, but in the middle of a pandemic, it's brought even more challenges. At the time they signed the lease, COVID-19 restrictions were still prevalent. Construction delayed the opening, but the timing might have been favorable. So far, the risk is paying off. Steiger says Vibe Coffee has started just how they envisioned, and they're getting hundreds of sales per day.
And yeah, it was honestly everything that we've dreamed of.
In State College, I'm Kyle Canillo for the Center County Report.
Their coffee shop is on West Beaver Avenue, and it's open every day except Sunday.
That's all for today's newscast. We hope you'll join us on Tuesday for our next update.
But you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Center County Report Twitter, and you can see our stories on our Facebook page and our website. Have a good weekend.
We hope you enjoyed watching the video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you did.
For the rest of our newscasts and featured stories, click here.
And for sports, click here. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.